So, the Rittenhouse case. Let's discuss this because I'm super happy that he was found not guilty. But the first thing that needs to be said about this whole case is that it should have never been a case. It should never have been a case. This concept that this kid would be brought to trial for murder when everything was on tape. There is video of almost every interaction in regards to this case. The actions of all the people involved in the case are pretty much known quantities. So the concept that this was some sort of possibility that this kid was went out to kill people, or I don't know what type of narrative, it seemed to be the narrative that the prosecution was going after. This is an indictment of our system, and it's an indictment of our culture because instead of us as people looking at a 17-year-old boy who's trying to uh, do positive things in a community in which there's so many people, so many forces, active forces that uh, apparently involve a guy who likes to sodomize children, attack women, criminals generally involved in trying to tear down a community. The society that we see, or at least the elite culture, the social media fabric, the media system, the rich media system that we have over top of us, constantly inundating us with their perspective, with their narrative. They chose to side with the, with those type of people, the child abusers and woman abusers and uh, generally terrible human beings. Maybe at some point they'll make something out of their lives, but at this point they're involved in tearing down a city, and you have a kid there that we know was filmed or photographed cleaning up graffiti, I think the day before. Claims to have been there to help. That there's no reason to not think that. He was wanting to be a firefighter, wanting to be a cop, all this stuff. This is a known stuff. Like, we know who's involved here. We also, again, hate to belabor the point, but we also see what happened. He's trying to run away, and they're attacking him. And these are terrible people, right? Their actions are terrible. So it's not just their past, it's that they haven't changed and they're attacking somebody. And he defended himself. And yet he's going to trial. So not only is our society set up in such a way in which our media are horrible human beings as well, and that they push stories down, they don't tell the whole side, they don't go after and explain who these people were that attacked Kyle. They instead act like Kyle's the bad guy. And our justice system is broke. This is something that we should be galvanized together. You know, we should see the system as it is, but this is something that is happening here where the trick that's being played to us is they're throwing the race card out there, and it's confusing all of us. It's distracting us. It's getting us to uh, look at each other instead of the justice system. Like, we're supposed to look at just the cops, right? That's what we're supposed to do. Not focus on the lawyers, not focus on the judges, right? We're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to focus on just the cops, and those happen to be the blue collar guys that have to go out. I'm not saying, trust me, I'm not saying all the cops are good, okay? I'm a little sick and tired of the fact that cops tend to go out and enforce unconstitutional laws because I'm just doing my job type crap. So I'm not playing this where I go, oh, all cops are back the blue and all this other stuff. The point is that I can tell you this: the system itself as a whole is broke, and it doesn't do any good to just focus on one part of it and say it's just the cops, and then go, well, the reason it's broke is because it's racism. That's not it either. The reason it's broke is because it's a system based on money. They There's big money in putting people in jail. And the people who have money can get out of jail. That's the problem with the system. It's about poor people getting the book thrown at them and rich people literally getting away with murder. This is the problem that we have. And the fact that many people in our society, because of the race component, see a white kid up there, are of the mindset that, well, he needs to have the book thrown at him like black kids do. Like that makes the system better. No, that just makes the system what it is, which is terrible, which is awful. So that's the thing I don't really, that's so disappointing. I mean, I get that people above us, and maybe it's not as bad as I think. I don't know. You know, I think people are more reasonable in the real world, but when you get on social media, you get the dregs of society, or it brings out the worst in people. I'm not really sure. But this idea that we're supposed to support and root for a 17-year-old kid to go to jail because he's white is strange. And doesn't this show that the media and want they see racism everywhere? This is literally a white on white crime. This doesn't even involve black people. And yet somehow this has something to do with race. This should, and this is what I'm saying about this is why it's such a powerful thing that they do. They literally have our minds here because they're saying race when it actually doesn't even exist here. Why are they saying race? Again, it's to distract you from seeing the issue. Kyle Rittenhouse is not a rich kid. Okay? He is a poor kid, and this system is disgusting, and the prosecutor is a terrible piece of trash human who lied. Everybody saw him lie. They doctored evidence. I mean, we watched this trial take place, and that should be the story. That should be what we're focused on. The fact that God forbid that one of us, that somebody else, and this happens to a lot of people all the time, I suppose, this should be the eye-opening experience, that our justice system will take poor people, just average folks, and it can create and concoct a whole narrative and put them in jail for murder when they didn't commit murder. This is the thing that should outrage us. We should not get it distracted by race, and this should be an issue where race doesn't even really come up. Again, and here's an illustration, right? So the same people who are focused on throwing a 17-year-old boy in jail have no issues or even support a 63-year-old actor. Both shot people, right? One in self-defense. Alec Baldwin, however, strangely just fires his weapon, aims it, cocks the hammer, aims it, shoots a woman. There will be no say her names for Helena Hutchins, right? Nobody will do that for her. Nobody's going to do that. Why? Because Alec Baldwin is a left-wing connected individual. But guess what? He's super white, right? Nobody's going to... So white privilege will be thrown at a 17-year-old boy from Wisconsin. But not Alec Baldwin, a California... I mean, he's one of the whitest white people there is. You see how they selectively use this stuff as a tool, as a way to harm people with words, because it gets society on you. And the whole, I guess the point that I really want to drive home is, I don't know how we fix the problem, but here's an example of how bad the problem is. So I'm on Twitter, and I won't say who it was, but the tweet was basically this, almost a quote. When is it okay to attack? And when is it okay to defend? Let me repeat this. When is it okay to attack? And when is it okay to defend? You know, I have a 7-year-old son, and I have to, at times, explain to him why he should not hit his sister because she says something. And the person who put this tweet out is a grown man, and he has not figured this lesson out. So let me repeat what the question was. When is it okay to attack, and when is it okay to defend? I will answer the question in case anybody's confused about what I'm getting at. It is never okay to attack, and it is always okay to defend. How is this even a question? The fact that we're confused on this subject is an example of how pervasive and how how powerful our delusion is, and how successful the whole media system has become in programming our minds and confusing us. When someone's attacked, they have the right to defend themselves. That's just how it works. You don't ever have the right to attack somebody. Ever. Because, think about this. This is what they do, right? This whole, like, punching Nazi stuff. Oh, it's okay, you can punch somebody because they're wearing a red hat, and we all know that the people wearing red hats are Nazis. So you see why we're so confused. They're the bad guys, so you can just go and hit them. You know, this is the thing that's got us... When we watch these videos of these crimes or these interactions with either cops and people and things that are going on, to me, it's relatively simple. Who are the ones that are engaging? Who are the ones that are engaging? Who are the ones that are going after? Who are the ones that are attacking? That's where it gets, that's where the question is. The fact that we can't figure this out, the fact that well, it's a white guy who defended, so that must mean that's not good. But if it's a black guy who attacks, then that's good. How does that make sense? It doesn't even make any sense. And again, Rittenhouse, and see the same rules they're using, they apply to this Rittenhouse. But it doesn't work because there's no black people involved. That's the thing that should be eye-opening to how weird this is. And what's the justification anyway? So if a black person attacks a cop, they go, well, you know, it's fine because they, you know, we know cops are racist. That's what they're doing, right? It's okay. And so if the cop shoots, if at the end of the altercation, the black person who attacked a cop and the black person ends up getting killed, then the cop's the bad guy. But the cop defended. You see how this whole thing works? But the system's bad. Yeah, but we're not fixing the system. We're just calling it racist, and we're inverting everything. And this system that we have, what we see with the Rittenhouse scenario, is it's supposed to be a justice system, but what we see is it's not justice. What we saw is a prosecutor who attempted to make a career out of scapegoating a boy and putting him in jail for a crime he didn't commit. That's the opposite of justice. If there was justice, the prosecutor would go to jail for what he did. There should be charges for what he did. Rittenhouse, also in regards to the media, I hope Rittenhouse sues everybody for the ridiculously biased and untrue coverage. And I hope somebody does something within the system to that prosecutor. But you know what's going to happen? No, nothing like that. Well, Rittenhouse may sue, but in regards to our justice system, you know what's going to happen? That guy, Binger, I think is his name, that guy will become a star. That's how this system works. Binger will become a star. because he's down for the struggle. He's trying to do the right thing. That's what they're going to say. The guys that are doing the wrong thing are the guys that are actually being told to us that are doing the right thing. Defending yourself is actually attacking, you see. And attacking is actually fighting against oppression. This is how they play the game. This is how this whole thing, and this is why the Rittenhouse situation is so, should be so, it should be the Rosetta Stone to translating the spell that we're under, to unlocking it, to explaining us, wait, we've been tricked. Wait, the justice system is bad, but it ain't for the reasons that we've been told. And the bad guys aren't the bad guys that we've been told, and the good guys aren't the good guys. That's what I'm saying. That's what we should learn. That's the end of my rant.